Good evening and welcome to our exhibition Through Their Eyes. It's something that we started in Delhi in January, and Andy Malhan is a photographer. Some of you might remember him from a Mela in 2010, where he was taking photographs of people in the audience dressed up in costumes. But Andy had taken pictures of his mother, and inspired by some of those pictures, I wrote poetry, and we had an exhibition in Delhi. And the third member of our team for the Oslo part of the exhibition is Carlton Braganza from Bombay.
Thank you. Thank you, and it's great to be here, and looking forward to a wonderful evening. We're all connected by the same lineage.
That we are children of.
We are children of people who've had this, and hence the connection. So it's great to be here, and thank you.
So I'd like to introduce both of them properly, but I'll start with you, Andy. Andy, you started off as a graphic designer.
I did.
And then, but photography was your hobby, but after a while, it became... You switched to photography.
I think it was just, I've always been a photographer. I got my first SLR when I was 12 years old. And, but like you said, it was a hobby. And at some stage, it just seemed to make more sense to tell, essentially I see myself as a storyteller, And it seemed to make more sense to tell stories through photographs rather than tell them through words and objects on a page. That's really how I switched.
Andy grew up in Zambia, Guyana,
the US, all over the place,
Yeah.
India for a while.
India for a while, which is where we worked together.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Shanghai and Hong Kong, and now is in Den Haag. So he's one of the Indian NRI, as we call them, jet-setting crowd. Whereas you grew up in Bandra in Bombay, but moved... And then joined the Norwegian ship when you were 17.
And some strange connections actually that are happening this evening. Yes, I left home when I was 17, 18 years old, and I joined a merchant ship, and I sailed for 7 to 8 years with the Norwegian company, Baba Williamson, and then I completely switched tack and moved ashore and started a couple of music venues in Bangalore and in India, and life has moved on in a completely different direction. Now I find myself traveling and having fun and making other people have fun, and and that's pretty much what it is.
One of the reason the way I met Carlton was basically that during the lockdown he started singing from his bedroom, and he would take requests over Facebook and YouTube, and so every night people would send him requests and he would sing the songs, and he did that all through. He's done 250 shows or something like that, and it kept us sane. It made a group of people. We would all log in and we would come with remarks and.
That was an incredible story. I mean, I started it off as a joke, and I said that since I can't get out of my bedroom, I'm going to entertain you guys and come into my bedroom and have a drink with me every night. And I said, till I can get out of the bedroom, I will do this every night. And nobody knew how long that would be. It went from a 2-week lockdown to a 1-month thing to a 2-month thing, and every night. I went on for that 1 hour, 1.5 hour every night, and people from all over the world, grandmothers in Australia and grandchildren in Singapore, and were connecting for that 1 hour every night. Was that bonding that happened, and it was fantastic, and
it kept us sane. It kept us sane,
It did, and a lot of older people actually, who were staying alone and wanted to connect with their families. The time I realized this really was impactful was when I got a message I used to get thousands of messages every day. I got one message from a girl who said, my mom used to wake up every morning in Canada and listen to you, and she was a big fan. And the reason I'm writing to you is because she passed away this morning. And on her lap in her chair was her watching your show, and I was at that time it kind of hit me that it really made a big difference to a lot of people. Yeah.
So, but I'd like to ask you about photography now, because for the last few years, after the last time when you were here at Mela Festival as a photographer, you got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Your mother got Alzheimer's, and you're dealing with being a caregiver, having Parkinson's yourself, and being a photographer. How do you manage?
It's about taking each day as it comes, really. I mean, it's as I was telling you guys earlier, my doctor told me if you're going to get a neurological disease, Parkinson's is the one to get, because we kind of know how to deal with it. There's no cure, but you have this problem, there's a pill for that. You have this problem, there's a pill for that. And so I take it one day at a stride, one step at a time. The other way of looking at it, of course, is a friend of my father's had Parkinson's before he died, and he wanted to meet me for a drink. So I go over and I meet this old guy, and he says, "Andy, we're really lucky we have Parkinson's." Well, how's that? Yeah. Well, if we had Alzheimer's, we'd forget what our drink was. Now we just lose half of it on the way to our mouth. So I think it's about looking at things in just in totality and saying, bad things happen all the time. You just have, these are the cards you're dealt. You have to play them.
Yeah. And what about you? Your father had Alzheimer's as well, and how did he deal with it? How did you deal with it?
So for a lot of the time that my dad had Alzheimer's was the time that I was kind of away. He got married very late and had us very late. So I was sailing when these 10 odd years and very rapidly deteriorating years, my mother had to put up with it. My brother was living with them, and so I didn't get to see that much of it, but I could see how it kind of impacted them, and it took its toll on everyone. But yeah, it's really difficult for the caregiver. Yeah, there were times where it was quite bad, and as I said, I was the visitor more than the caregiver, but I could see what was going on.
Yeah, I'll add to that a little bit. One thing that we really count as one of our blessings is that we live in India where these things are affordable, and had we not been there, the kind of one person having Alzheimer's disease or dementia influences the lives of 10 other people. So it's a much bigger problem than people think about. It's not just about so many million people; it's that times 10. Because you impact the lives of so many people. We have an army of people looking after my mother. She lives alone in Delhi. There's a cook, full-time cook in the house. There's a driver. There's someone that comes in to clean. There's 2 ladies for 24-hour care, so they have 12-hour shifts. And they have me, showing up every few months. They have my sisters from New York showing up every few months. But that's just how it works, And to add to what you were saying, it takes an army of people to look after them and care for them, and it's not easy. It's not easy. But again, you play the cards you're dealt. So.
I think we'll move on to the next section. But would you like to sing a song? Sure. We'll start with because Carlton is from Bombay, so we'll start with a sort of Bombaya film song.
Excuse the rather anglicized version of it, but yeah. Feel free at any point in time to join me and sing along, because some of these songs are songs that all of us know and have grown up with, and this one is definitely one of them. Astri asked me to sing a Hindi song, and I don't usually. अजीब दास्तां है कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें है कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम, अजीब दास्तां है, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें है कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम. How many of you know this song here? Oh, lovely. Sing with me if you know it. Just gonna do one verse. ये रोशनी के साथ क्यों धुआं उठा चिराग से, ये रोशनी के साथ क्यों धुआं उठा चिराग से, ये ख्वाब दिखती हूँ मैं, ये जग पड़ी हूँ ख्वाब से, अजीब दास्तां है, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें है कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम. Are we ready? Astri?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I asked Carlton if he could sing this song about half an hour ago.
She threw me
He
under
had,
the bus
you
half
know,
an
he
hour
had
ago.
no time to prepare or anything. So, but thank
I'm
you
kind
very
of used
much.
to that. I'm kind of used to spending 200 nights in my bedroom getting requests which I had no clue about.
Yes, yes, yes. Baby shark, baby shark.
Yeah, from that.
And then to the next part, I think we'll take a little break of maybe 5 minutes. We've got to get the screen down. And then Carlton and I will be back. This part of the program is going to be poems that I've written and songs that Carlton's going to sing. But I'd like to start with old verse from the Upanishads, from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I see Rolf here, and he's been making these wonderful compositions with quoting the Vedas. And I would like to say this one verse in the memory of Ambadas, of your dad, Rolf, and of all the people that we have lost to dementia, my mother included. It is Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoima Jyotirgamaya Mrityoirma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And it means lead me from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om Shanti Shanti means peace. But then to our program, and all these, most of the poems that I started off on this, they were not all about Mrs. Malhan, who's Andy's mother, but the first one was this. And we'll start with Carlton. Okay. We discovered today, I was thinking, which song should we sing? And this is just this very strange way in which the songs that we've chosen came about. I said to Carlton, let's do this song. And then Andy says, oh, that was my parents' favorite song. So.
Andy, this one's for you. Where you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, the memory of all that. No, they can't take that away from me. The way your smile just beams, the way you sing off key, the way you haunt my dreams. Oh, they can't take that away from me. We may never, never meet again on that bumpy road to love. But I'll always, always keep the memory of the way you hold my knife, the way we danced till 3, the way you changed my life. Oh no, you can't take that away from me. Oh, they can't take that away from me. So nice to see all of you here. It's a very different kind of gig that I'm doing tonight, but it's it's really gigs like this make me nervous actually. But thank you, Astri, for having me here. We may never, never, never meet again on that bumpy road to love. Still I'll always, always keep that memory of the way you hold your knife, the way we danced till 3, the way you changed my life. Oh, you can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from me. Oh, they can't take that away from me. Oh yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
The first poem that I'm going to read is about. It's in the voice of Andy's sister, actually. Flying in from New York, I drive up to Dalhousie, sneak up from behind, give her a hug. Bury my face in her shoulder, she strokes my arms. Who can it be, you ask, and pull out your camera? I don't need to see her face, she says. I know my daughter. Sundown is also a poem I wrote once when I was actually visiting Andy and his mother was up in Dalhousie, and there was this FaceTime conversation. And and this is her up in Dalhousie. As the light fades and the day grows old, your patience disappears into the darkness. Who is this person? You start to cry. Why is she telling me what to do? That is not my bed. I will not go there. Why is she forcing me to sleep in a strange room? In Hindi, that is. जब दिन छिपने लगता है और शाम ढलने लगती है, तो सूर्य की किरणों के साथ तुम्हारा धैर्य छूट जाता है. ये औरत कौन है? तुम रोने लगती हो. मैं उसकी बातें क्यों मानूं? वो मेरा बिस्तर नहीं है. मैं वहां नहीं रहूंगी. किसी अजीब कमरे में सोने के लिए वो मुझे क्यों कह रही है? Now the next poem is called Riding to Ravana, and it's once Mrs. Malhan fell and she suddenly had a very bruised face, and this is what she answered. She said where she'd been. Mom, do you remember the Akhand part you would have in Guyana? All the ladies would sit around reading from the Ramayana. Guyana? No. But I did ride a horse to Lanka to see Ravana. I fell off, I hurt my face. But such a personable chap, actually, very well read. Which in Hindi is, माँ तुम्हें याद है गुयाना में घर पर तुम अखंड पाठ करती थी, पड़ोस की सभी औरतें साथ बैठ के रामायण पढ़ती थी. गुयाना तो नहीं, लेकिन मैं घोड़े पर सवार होकर लंका रावण से मिलने लंका गई. घोड़े से गिरी तो चेहरे पे चोट आई, पर वो इतना आकर्षक आदमी है, वास्तव में बहुत पढ़ा लिखा. The next one is one that we, as caregivers, sometimes have some uncomfortable thoughts. And this one's called Leaving in Slow Motion. It might be kinder, if she was to go quickly in her sleep, rather than leaving us slowly, piece by piece. But I don't want her to leave. I cling to those moments of lucidity in between the silence, the loneliness, the confusion. I think this is my mother when she was young. I think we could do one of her favorite songs now.
Okay. If you feel like dancing, get up. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. But when I woke, dear, I was mistaken, and I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy. If you would only say the same. But if you leave me to love another, you'll regret it all someday. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My mother, who is here with her chainsaw and the dog, she was a very feisty woman, and so I'm reading one poem that I've called Bus Bus. Your mother is not very lucid. She keeps talking about a bus, the doctor says, as we go in to see her. Bus, bus, we hear her say, as they try to locate a vein in her arm, poking her time after time. The doctor sees an old woman, frail like all the others, in the geriatric ward of Ullevål Hospital. Not the feisty young girl who cycled to France after the war, who took the boat to India and Pakistan, who married in Burma. They see an old woman with blue eyes and pale skin and don't understand that she's speaking Hindi. Traveling, Andy was talking about how he copes. And I've written a poem called Guilt, which is all of us when we travel across the world and we have parents in other countries who are ill. So this goes for me, it goes for Andy, it goes for Carlton when he was traveling and his dad had Alzheimer's. Looking after a loved one from a land far away, hopping on a plane every few months is never enough. Guilt eats you from inside all the time, leaving you hollow. And you feel guilty for leaving the care to others, guilty for leaving when you go, guilty for having a reason to leave. But we're there for each other as caregivers. And so this poem of mine is called Caregivers. In stressful moments when you lose your temper over something insignificant, that's when you need a friend, someone who's been there, knows what you're going through, someone who can tell you that mistakes will happen because you're human too. Don't despair if your mother flushed your hard disk down the toilet. My mother threw away silver spoons, hid jewelry in a nappy box. Just before we had our exhibition in Delhi, I can't remember whether it was 2 weeks before or 1 week before, Mrs. Malhan threw the hard disk with all the photographs for our exhibition down the toilet. So this poem was based on that little incident. Old friends. Sometimes when we came to visit, we'd see a bouquet of flowers in a vase on your table. Flowers we hadn't bought. Later we realized that your old colleagues Rashmi and Aruna would drop by week after week, combining swimming in the heated pool in the basement with visits at the nursing home, silently, regularly, faithfully. And now I have a couple of more poems before we end, but we have 2 songs more. But I'll just read this one and then we can go to the next song. Dread. This is another, child of an Alzheimer patient poem. Dread. Should I stumble and fall, struggle to remember a word, lose my keys or forget a name? A sense of dread seizes my mind and I think, dear Lord, have mercy. It's coming to take me away. When Carlton and I were talking at some point, then I told him that my mother's name was Sulve. That was when we were talking about the earlier exhibition. And Carlton said, when I was a kid in Bandra, I used to go for music lessons when I was about 10 years old. And guess what I learned?
It actually was a parish competition that used to happen, and we owe all our music to back in Bombay. And this was a classical competition, and I was thrust upon this song with no history or geography. I didn't know anything about it till we spoke. But yeah, it was a song which I sang when I was a little kid. I've never heard or sung it for the last 40 years. And I've tried online to find the lyrics of the song that I was taught, but I can't seem to find it. And Astri says there are different translations of the song. So I'm just gonna kind of sing a few lines and maybe a verse and yeah.
I phoned the Center for Ibsen Studies because some of you know I translate Ibsen, and so my colleague who translates to Chinese, I called her up and I said, "Can you find the words I'm looking for? These are words," and she said, "Listen, it's much more interesting to see what someone sang in Bandra 40 years ago than to find the exact correct lyrics right now. So just go with what you've got." So we go with what we've got.
I'm going to try and remember this. Let winter be gone and the spring bid adieu, the spring bid adieu. Though summer take its flight and the year bid adieu, the year bid adieu. Someday you will come back, of that truth I am assured, that truth I am assured. And you will find me faithful, that your love for me endured, your love for me endured. Ah, 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 something like that.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic. So my poem is called Solveig's Songs. When I first discovered playlists, I would play your old favorites. You Are My Sunshine, 3 Coins in a Fountain, Sugar Bush, I Love You So, Grieg and Franz Liszt. We always sang at home, and you and Pa had your own version of You Are My Sunshine. You Are My Rain Cloud. The two of you'd sing. In India, rain was more romantic. Before we got a record player, we'd put records we got for Christmas on the table and say, "Sing, Mama." And you'd sing on behalf of Shishn Flagstad. We'd turn the record, and you'd oblige and sing the B-side. And now by your bedside, I would see your face light up and respond to old familiar songs. But in the end, you'd shut your eyes and turn your face away. The only music you wanted to hear was choral.
Oh my gosh. Give it up for Astri. Close your eyes, this song transports me as well. Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, in mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Sancta Maria, Sancta Maria, Maria, ora pro nobis, nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora dies nostre. Thank you.
That was just incredible. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We will, the lights will go on and we can chat, and we don't have to leave immediately, and you can buy a drink for yourselves. Thank you so much for coming. And
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlton. Thank you, Andy. And thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you, Melhan. Thank you. I don't know your name, but on sound, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.